Imagine having access to the latest news at your fingertips. Introducing the newly rebranded and improved Daily Nation website. With our innovative online flipping page feature, you can read the newspaper just like you would in print. Plus, with our subscription-based model, you will get access to exclusive content, archives, and more. So why wait? Sign up now and experience the future of news. Daily Nation, now at your fingertips.
It's a lovely good afternoon. You're still watching Millennium Television. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. This is a Pulse Nation program, all the national pulse right here on Millennium Television. And thank you so much to you, our esteemed viewer, for finding time to be part of the conversation this afternoon. This afternoon on the program, we are looking at the future of the United Quarter Alliance. Uka, and joining me is a founder of the United Quarter Alliance and also NDC leader, Madam Savoy Imbwela. Madam President, you're welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I understand that today has been a very eventful day for you.
Yes, it has been.
How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you.
It was good to have you on our program, and it's, of course, a lot has been happening. You're one of the most trending female politicians at the moment.
Oh, really? I'm very happy to hear that.
But, of course, we're seated here this afternoon to discuss the future of the United Quarter Alliance. As we understand that you are the founder of the United Quarter Alliance. Recently, you were expelled from the alliance, and you so expelled the chairperson of the alliance, and you went ahead to form the new Oka Alliance. And that is what we're, of course, we're here to discuss. But let us start from the beginning, the formation of the United Quarter Alliance, and who was involved during, the formation of the alliance.
Okay. So the formation of the United Quarter Alliance, it started, there were three people that were involved. Myself, President Kateka, and President Jackson Silabo. We started meeting to say, let's have an alliance. And during that time, by the way, I was meeting again with President Harrison Kalaba to say, let's form an alliance. So I told him to say, by the way, I'm meeting these three of our colleagues, so let's come together and form this alliance. So President Harry Kalaba, as you know, the CF has got orange in terms of their party colors. NDC has orange. GPZ, Jackson Silabo, has got orange. So we'd even jokingly call ourselves the Orange Alliance. Even within UKA, when UKA was finally formed, we'd still call ourselves Orange Alliance. We joke about being the Orange Alliance. President Kateka has yolk, yellow, like an egg yolk in terms of our party colors. So sometimes we'd even say the Orange Yolk Alliance, So I would do that. And when we started talking, the three of us, I remember at that time, we were even saying, whatever happens, we don't want the PF to be with us. Because when we involve the PF, people think it's a PF project, They start calling us PF surrogates and everything, so we don't want that. In Zambian politics, people like things to either be PF or UPND, so we didn't want that. We just wanted something separate altogether. So the four of us started talking, and that's how we said, okay, let's call some of our friends, let's call some of our friends. And then later on, we said, okay, let's start having even joint press conferences. When we started having the joint press conferences, I remember at that time, we called in people like Sean Tembo, who also was in that joint press conference. The first one we had at Southern Sun. Sean was there, a few other people were there. And I remember when President Luwinda saw the poster, actually called me. He was like, why haven't you people called us? So I explained to him to say it's nothing to do with us not wanting to be with the PF, but we just feel that if we involve the PF, they'll think it's a PF project or we are PF surrogates, and we don't want anything to do with that kind of a label, you know. Then I was like, no, but I would really want to be part of this, and if it's okay, then involve. That was like the conclusion. Okay, can some of our people come? Then we're like, okay, fine. He said, okay, I'll bring 2 or 3 people come for the presser tomorrow, and I think it was Mr. Lifwekero, and I can't remember the 2 others who came through for that presser, which was the first one at the Southern Sun Hotel. So when we had that, started now having those informal pressers. You know, during that time, by the way, amongst the people we had called President Hamdudu, President Fred Membe, you know, and amongst the opposition leaders, these are the only 2 that had refused at that time. They were like, no, when you talk about joint press conferences, I think it's important we all have our smaller ones, then have a big one later. But we are saying to say we have our own press conferences all the time as smaller parties, you know. So right now, let's have a big one, then do our own like that. So like I said, these 2, of course, at that time, they did not come. But later, after the program, they actually called. I remember Dr. Membe telling me, no, I think you guys were right. This was really good. It was very successful and everything. Then from there, we said, okay, let's continue doing that. And from that time, I'm sure people saw that President Membe came through as part of that group. President Kasonde Mwenda, a good number of us had started having that informal kind of a meeting. Again, we'd meet, you know, there's a time that we had that joint activity in terms of AFRICOM. We went to the embassy, American embassy, just to go and complain about things like that. We wrote letters to the embassies in terms of some things that were happening, you know. But to cut the long story short, coming now to the formation of UCA now as an alliance, okay? And also let me say that as we were talking informally as amongst ourselves, President Lungu was also calling a few colleagues within the opposition to say, let's have an alliance, let's formalize an alliance by next year. You know, I think some people saw that there were those times where I went jogging with President Lungu, then we had the private talks, we'd sit like the 2 of us and just talk. And even him was like, let's formalize an alliance by next year, August, okay? So that was what really the opposition was looking like. People were talking in their own spaces and everything. Yes, and by the time now we said, okay, let's formalize an alliance. When we formalized the alliance, there were 7 political parties who I would call the founding members of the United Kwacha Alliance. And at that time, the idea was that we're about 13, 14 political parties here, but we need to really be few so that we do something. You know, sometimes you work better when you're a few of you. Let's do something, a few of us, and we'll call our friends later. So at that time of formalization of the United Kwacha Alliance, the parties and presidents now were 7. There was President Lungu of the PF, there was President Jackson Silavo GPZ, there was President Harry Kalava CF, there was President Chelakateka, NHP, that is New Heritage Party, there was myself, Savoy Mbwela NDC, there was President Edith Nawakwi, FDD, and President Sakuba Squatta ULP. So the 7 of us now came together and had that formal alliance called the United Kwacha Alliance. So for me, I would call these as 7 founding members of the United Kwacha Alliance, you know. So that's how that formal thing came to be. The only thing, of course, when it came together, there were 2 schools of thought there to say, as we come together, let's write something, then announce the alliance later. And then again, we're like, no, others were like, no, let's announce now and then put up the documents later. I think that was a mistake, you know, because immediately we announced the United Kwacha Alliance, it just ran on its own. You know, I'm sure we'd hear a press conference where we'd say that the alliance has overtaken us, you know, because after announcing it, I think it went viral and very popular just within 2 days. It became so popular, it was bigger than what we thought it had been. So with that, you have this big thing on your hands, and then the documentation in terms of what it should be, we're not really there at that time.
Would you say it was excitement that probably, you know, 7 political parties had come together and agreed to say, let us form an alliance, and maybe this is where the excitement came in to say, let us just announce it before we put up, you know, the documentation and whatnot, because from your recent press briefing, you mentioned that there's no constitution and there are no rules and regulations in the United Kwacha Alliance. So was it the excitement that led you to just say, let us go ahead and then we can do this later?
Yeah, I don't think there's really excitement per se. It's one of those, when you're seated and they're talking, they're normally people that have different opinions. So on this one, let's do this. On this one, okay. So I think the people that said, let's just announce, they convinced us, those who say it. So sometimes other people just convince others, whether they're the ones in their right or in their wrong. You find that they end up convincing each other. And I always say that after that announcement, for example, when we say that let's have let's have a lean alliance and involve others later, I remember President Edith Nawak was one of those who was very categorical to say, let's be a few for now, then later on we'll call others, okay? And when we were 7 of us, people now started complaining. No, so a lot of political parties, leaders were just on us and everything. So a good number of us started saying again, so you know what? People are really complaining. Why don't we just bring people on board? So we ended up as a compromise. We said, okay, we're going to have a council of presidents and an assembly of presidents, so that we lock the founder member positions there. That the 7 of us, we lock ourselves. Then now we bring everybody else on board, so that we don't really disturb, because where we had gone, we had really moved so far. Because, when we started UKA, we would meet almost sometimes even 2-3 times a week, and sometimes we'd meet from 9 hours in the morning all the 21 hours, Yeah, President Lungu would be there the whole time, Everybody would be there and would not go. That's how committed we were, So with all that, there was a lot of synergies that were happening at that time. So we started bringing in now. It's like you fell to jail because you have moved so far already as the people that started. So we said, okay, let's bring in our friends and then we have this and like that. But when they came in now, they were like, but why is there an assembly of presidents and the council of presidents? You get the point. So that also started bringing in confusion. So it's more like, I think I'm going to know some of us.
The United Quarter Alliance has been in existence for some time now. How's it that up until now you do not have a constitution?
Well, that is the thing, because like I said, number one, we formed it and then it ran faster than us. Then number two, I think we started being rocked with certain confusions, okay? The first confusion was the issue of the flag bearer, okay? Because when we were still trying to put things in place and everything, our friends, for example, from our colleagues from the PF were like, we need to have a flag bearer now. And we're saying, we don't even have documentation for this thing, Let's put documentations in place, then that's when we'll have a flag bearer. So when that confusion rocked the alliance, we now started dealing with that confusion, until the point where the PF and others left to go form Tonse, So there again, we remained, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Then there again, we just couldn't put certain things in place. So we have just been overtaken by events in certain instances. When we announced in January, for example, to say that January, we're going to have a flag bearer before 31st of March. The reason why we did that, we said, by the time we announced, we should have all the documents in place, including a memorandum of understanding and a power sharing agreement. All those things, documents that you need in place, so that you don't have anything which is left to speculation. But to be honest with you, we just came to discover later to say, while others were committed to the process to say, let's do this, it's like some other people didn't just want certain things to happen in a certain way. And UKA, we have always existed and operated using consensus. Everybody has to be on board. There are times whereby we say, okay, we have failed to agree on this, let's vote. So we vote and the majority wins. But 99% of the time, we say, it's not about voting and going with the majority. It's about convincing even that person that is not agreeable to say, this is the best way to go. So most times we have to convince each other to say, okay, this is the right thing to go. You don't agree. ABCD, ABCD. So we convince each other at that level.
Let us talk about the people that have left the United Quarter Alliance. The likes of President Harry Kalawa, who we are also endorsing for president in 2026. President Lungu left, and when President Lungu left the alliance, it seemed like the alliance was not receiving much attention, as it were, when President Lungu was around. Would you say that the presence of the former head of state in the alliance also just helped get the attraction that the alliance needed?
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. President Lungu is the 6th Republican president, the only surviving former head of state. The fact that he's a former head of state, there's something that he brings to the table, And for me, one thing that I always appreciate about him, that the public, of course, they know to say he's a humble man, but they don't realize the extent of his humility, When you sit with President Lungu, I think it's one of the things that really hits you, The man is very, very humble. I've talked about the things whereby meetings where I say meetings sometimes start at 9, 10 hours, and he'll be there. Would only stand to go and eat and come back. The man was so committed. Sometimes I would even say he was more committed to Uka than anybody else. Are you getting the point? He really was doing that. So his level of commitment, his level of humility was really, really good. To the point whereby the people that now started bringing problems, for example, were people from his party who would say, no, a president, you can't be sitting with people that have never been in government. So they brought in all those kinds of things, you know. But for him, of course, you'd always say, people want to see a new face in terms of politics. So we come together. Everybody brings in a different kind of thing. Are you getting the point? Yeah. Everybody brings in a kind of thing. And what is this when we bring those together?
I remember, I think when that confusion arose, you were very vocal about that particular issue. Yeah. Would you say you also contributed to the reason why he left the alliance?
Certainly not. You know, certainly not, because we were being insulted, you know, by some members of, let's say, the PF. You get the point. And even then, when those people were doing that, it wasn't really everybody, because there were members of the PF that were talking to those people that were insulting us, okay? Like for me, for example, I'd even tell them to say, you can't go watch a match and support only number 10. I get to the point. If you support Chiporoporo, it's a whole team you're supporting, okay? But we are these people who would insult us, and we are in the same alliance, you know? And for me, I'd even tell them to say, NDC was in an alliance with the UPND before 2021. I never saw UPND members insulting us. You get the point? Because they looked at us as being part of the team. Yeah, Lungu is there. He's Messi. Imani Manch Poro Poro. You know, Lungu, player Messi can be sold at 100 million, Poro Poro 2 million. And then I would even tell them to say, even Messi, who you say is going to be sold at 100 million, bring him here in Hero Stadium. Forget Chiporo Poro. Get junkies from Chawama. And you get 11 junkies to play against Messi. Messi will lose. So respect a team. In our PF, we are on the same team. We are Uka. You can't come to the match, you're just clapping for number 10, the scorer, who's this president, Lungwa, number 10, Mutota. He said, Kabira Bora, number 6, Kapenwa, goalkeeper. You're even booing. How do you boo your own team? You get the point. So we have started having those things. You get the point. And for me also, being the chairperson of media, number one, even in the groups, I had to bring certain kinds of communication and order. You know, and so sad, of course, those leaked. Because the things that leaked, for example, were not really supposed to be for the public. They were for the groups. Because you'd tell people, the admins in the groups, to say, can you remove this person, remove that person, can you bring order? So when they remove them, certain people would go now insulting the admins, okay? So insulting the admins, then I came in, I would come in myself now, I remove certain people, or bring certain order to say, you can't do this, you know. So it was through that certain things are leaked, you know, but even the things that were done or said at that time, I think they were done because of what was really going on at the moment.
Would you say that currently the United Culture Alliance still is serving the purpose that it was, formed for? Looking at the fact that you do not have a constitution, you do not have any rules and regulations that govern you members of the the United Culture Alliance, even just maybe now, do you have a message that you want to give to the people of Zambia? Looking at the fact that you yourselves, right now, I think the people would question the stability of the alliance, especially that you have decided to form another alliance, which is also UKA. People will still question the stability of maybe you as leader of NDC and founder of the UKA alliance.
Yeah. Number one, if you heard at the press conference, we wanted to form a new United Culture Alliance, but we said we're not going to form a new UKA. We are the same one, okay? We said you're going to continue with the same one and just change the chairman. So that's number one. Number two, in terms of stability, definitely it's undergoing a storm. There's a storm right now. So we need to pray for the storm to reduce or to be eliminated completely. So definitely there's this turbulence that we're undergoing at the moment. And then when it comes to having, what is this, are we doing what we were set out to do? No, we are not, and that is why a good number of us are talking the way we're talking, and then that is why others, of course, have left, including President Kalaba, because it's just not okay, you set out to do certain things and you're not doing them. Number one of the reasons why UKA was created, we say that we need to lessen the number of presidents on the 2026 ballot. If you remember, Lovisa, in 2021, the ballot paper looked like it was a toilet roll. Okay, it was too long. There were 16 presidential candidates on the ballot paper. So we said, let's come together as an alliance to ensure that we bring in as many political parties as we can under us, because Zambia's got over 60 registered political parties. We see who can bring along, and then whoever will be part of our alliance, we produce one presidential candidate, But the sad part is that as we moved on, everybody wanted to be president. Every single person wanted to be president. Apart from me and President Robert Chansa, for example, we said, no, for us, let's stay back and see who it is that we can vote for. It's okay to have ambitions, okay? The reasons why we are presidents of our own political parties is because we want to be presidents of the Republic of Zambia.
But why do you feel the need to step back?
Because everybody wanted to be president, so like that you create confusion. I get to the point, because now it became so competitive, and there was nobody who was willing to say, this one can do a job as good as me. Yeah, so that for me, I think it created so much confusion. No wonder we just said, you know what, let's see who we can support instead of, having everybody in the ring. There has to be a support match. That way the game goes on, not where everybody's playing on the ground, Yeah, so that's what has happened, where instead of us now coming up with one person, and also a process, I was saying earlier on to say, you can't stop people from having ambitions, okay? But let's have rules and regulations. Let's have an electoral process where you produce one president, okay? In as much as people would want to be president, once you have an election, the best man will win. Are you getting the point? But when you see that I won't win, and then you start manipulating the whole election process so that you don't have elections, so that you don't have a president, that becomes a problem, And that's what has happened in Uka, whereby the people who knew that they could not win an election in Uka fair and square, they manipulated the process to ensure that we don't have elections at all, and that is really, really sad. Because if we can have such dictatorship in the opposition, out of the ruling party, okay? It's not enough for us opposition to just say, we need to remove the church, we need to remove the UPND, we remove them, then what? Are you getting the point? We need to be a clean and better alternative, okay? Because if we remove the UPND and then we become worse, then what? Right now the Zambians are crying and they want an alternative, and they're saying, the UPND still have in 2026, but it's a vote and done. Are you getting the point? And they want to vote out UPND just after 5 years, okay? For one simple reason, a lot of things have gone wrong under the PF. Are you getting the point? They have gone wrong under the PF. And people wanted the UPND because they thought the UPND were better. And trust me, from what has happened, the people have come to realize that UPND were actually worse than PF. So right now as opposition, we need to put ourselves in order, so that when we change government next year, we are better than the UPND, even better than the PF before them. We should be better. But imagine in 2026, we do everything possible, we win, and then we're better than the UPND. It means that we're not being fair to the Zambians. So we need to ensure that we do the right things. Amongst the right things we need to do is the issue of tolerance amongst ourselves, is the issue of democracy, both intra-organizational democracy and inter. Otherwise, when it's very clear to say people here are so autocratic that they would even disturb an election for the sake of holding on to power, then we're going to have a problem as a country.
Maybe let us just bring up to speed the people of Zambia on what grounds you were expelled from the alliance.
The grounds I was expelled from the alliance, I told the chairperson and the vice to step down. I told them to say, you have lost legitimacy to run this organization, can you step down? So that's what I did. But for him, in terms of what he wrote on the letter, I think he wrote something like, he went to the media without authority. So he had to come up with a reason. But even that reason, that is not true. Because from the time I was appointed or chosen to be, chairperson for media in Uka, I have never had to seek authority from anybody. The only time that we do something jointly is when it's a written statement. Whether it's me who has done a statement, whether it's a president, who's this Silabwe, who's in charge of communications, or the chair himself, who's in charge of certain media appearances. Normally, the three of us write statements. When we write statements, when we bring to the WhatsApp group that we have, then everybody now puts in their input. Okay, when we do that, then that's what we share. So that is the only thing that we normally share, and then when everybody agrees, then that's when we share it here. But otherwise, in terms of going to the media, you just see from a poster, the chairperson will be this side, chairperson media this side, chairperson's communications. That's how it is. So for him to say you went to the media without authority, I don't know whose authority I should have sought and for what, because that has never happened before.
You're not the only member of the alliance. There's President Silavu. We also have President Kateka, as well as President Sikota. What are the two other members, the leaders of UCA, also saying in this situation? Because this is, tantamount to deteriorating the presence of UCA in the country. Even just people having doubt in whether they should stick with you, even people who are your members. What are the two other presidents or leaders of the United Kwacha Alliance saying?
Not two others, but three others. Don't forget that President Robert Chansa.
President Robert Chansa as well.
Yes, exactly. I have not heard what President Silavu and President Kateka has said, but of course I've heard what President Chansa has said. Because President Silavu President Chansa started talking even from the WhatsApp group itself. When President Scotta wrote the exculpatory letter, it was the first person that, before I could even say anything, the one who spoke was President Robert Chansa to say, but Chair, how did you write an exculpatory letter to the chairperson media without COP meeting? Because in the absence of rules and regulations, we should follow the natural justice, okay? And natural justice demands that if I do something wrong, or anybody within UCA does something wrong, we should call for a meeting, okay? When that meeting has been called, there should be, number one, a complainant, then that person should be charged. Once you are charged, you're given days to exculpate yourself, and depending on your reasons, either it can be suspended, whatever it is, you get the point, eh? Yeah, so that process can happen in that order, okay? But the shocking thing that happened was that after I said that the chair should step down, and the funny thing is that even the dates are there. You see that I said this on this date to say step down. The very next day, he writes me an exculpatory letter. Oh, by the way, before it came to the exculpatory letter, when I told him to step down, the first letter he sent me was that I owe him 30,000 kwacha. And he sent it to me in my inbox. He told one of his lawyers at the office to tell me to send me 30,000 kwacha. And then I even told the guy, I was like, where is this coming from? So I forwarded it on the WhatsApp group, on the same UCA group. I was like, look at what is going on. And then I was like, no, this is between you and Central Chambers. I was like, it's not between me and Central Chambers. Because UCA had 7 legal counsels, because, in politics and alliances, we always have lawyers that come to give us pro bono services, which is, in other words, free legal services, So, and I told him to say, you provided legal services last year, and you have never told me that I needed to pay. So the reason why I've brought it on this UCA group is because you came here as an UCA lawyer. So where is this coming from? You get the point. So that was the situation. So he sent me that letter, and I told him even there on the group to say, I think this to me is tantamount to blackmail. It's like giving me this so that I stopped talking. But even then, I did not stop talking. I said, for me, I feel the two of you have failed this organization. So we need to have a vote of no confidence in you, or you step down, on your own. So when I did not keep quiet, I think the other time we went to go see President Harry Kalava. When we went to go see President Harry Kalava with President Robert Chansa, the following day again, he wrote me an exculpatory letter.
Why are you meeting with President Kalava?
That one, he didn't even say the reason. He couldn't even say that. That's now the one where he said, because remember the first one was illegal, that I owe him 30,000. That's now the one where he wrote to say, I went to the media without authority. That's when I said, there's nothing like getting authority. I've never sought authority from anybody. So we talked about that. Then the last one now, I can't remember what was the third thing that happened. That thing happens the following day, exculpatory letter, and I remember 2 senior politicians had called me, prominent politicians had called me to say, we've seen this happening between you and President Sakiwa Squatter. I think we need to solve this amicably and everything, And I accepted. I was like, no, that's actually the way to go. Because I'm actually not okay with the things that have been happening the way they've been happening. I want this thing to be resolved. So we agreed on that. So they said, okay, so from seeing you now, we're going to see him. I was like, oh, where to go? As I was leaving, just after I left that meeting, I get a call from the media to say, you've been expelled by President Sakiwa Squad. So I heard it first from the media. I'd be like, expulsion, yes. Went to Facebook, went to WhatsApp. That's when I saw that later, that apparently he had expelled me, using powers that he does not even have. So that was the situation. I was mentioning earlier on to say, when he wrote the exculpatory letter, President Robert Chansa of RDC asked him to say, but Chair, how do you write this without calling for a COP meeting? You should have called for a meeting at the very least, so that you charge the media chairperson. When he wrote that, first he was quiet. I think an hour or two later, then he wrote to say, there's a meeting next week, meeting on Sunday. when I talked about the consensus of the United Kwacha Alliance, it has to do with everything, including meetings. We normally have a log for meetings where it shows all the days of the week, and then it shows the times, morning and afternoon. So you click on there, which day you think you're free, okay? Are you free on Monday? So we agree on times and days. But shockingly, we just saw the chair saying, because he was already challenged to say, you can't write an exculpatory letter without the Council of Presidents meeting. That's when you wrote to say, there's a meeting. They're like, a meeting where? Meeting at 17 hours at my, on a Sunday that is, by the way. On Sunday meeting at 17 hours at my office. And that was said like the following day, and people said, but also it was actually President Robert himself again who asked him to say, meeting, you haven't even written where the meeting will be. Where is the meeting at my office? 17 hours. So if that meeting happened or not, we don't even know. But I don't think it even happened. But he wrote that. But even if it happened, that meeting already happened when he had written those letters already.
What does the silence from President Silavwe and President Kateka mean to you?
The silence, I think it's good the way it is. Okay, trust me, it's good the way it is, because we don't want this to really escalate to levels where it won't be controlled. You know, they say that. But
even privately, don't you think, you know, these are concerned leaders of the alliance? Don't you think at least even privately they can call you as well as President Sikota to say, let us sit down and see how we can resolve this? But I've seen them convene with President Sikota, and for us it shows that these people are, you know, working together, and they've sidelined you. So their silence to you, what does it exactly mean?
They're not working together because they all want to be presidents. Okay? They all want to be presidents. When President Harry Kalaba left, I still continued saying, can we still choose a leader amongst yourselves? Since the threat that we were scared of has gone, can we choose? So there, they look as if they're okay with each other until you say, let's have a leader. Then there's a problem there. And for me also, it's not even about them choosing themselves. It's me moving away from them. Okay? I don't want, you know, for me, I'm a very open person. Black is black, white is white. Number one, I can't sit in a meeting that is chaired by President Sagwas, for example. I can't. You know, that is why I even said right now, in terms of the chairperson, the only chairperson I'll respect and listen to is President Robert Chansa. Because they showed me, you know, President Scott showed me that there are certain things that he has done which for me really I can't bring myself to accept in terms of what it is that we were set out to do as an alliance. You know, so to cut a long story short, for me, it's not even about them going the other side, but for me saying, you know what, I don't want to be involved in terms of this. President Silavwe, just from the onset, of course, it did reach out, because like I said, the good thing is that these conversations actually happen on WhatsApp. Even the track record is there, the voices are there. President Jackson Silavwe did put a voice note there. I said, no, what is this? We could have done something wrong as your colleagues, at least forgive us. I was like, no, there's certain things, but it's not, you can't even say forgive us, we did ABCD. What you've done, you people, is terribly wrong. You know, you have basically destroyed an alliance for your own selfish ends.
Now I'm interested, and I think the people of Zambia are interested. What wrong have they done?
The wrong they did is to sabotage the elections, to ensure that we don't have elections so that we don't vote. And I'll say this by taking you a few steps by saying, from the 6 presidential candidates and parties that remained in Oka, all 4, the 4 wanted to stand, which is President Scotta, President Silavwe, Kateka, Karaba. Only President Chance and I said, okay, we won't stand, because now this is confusion. You can't have an organization where everybody wants to stand, okay? And as we went on, it became obvious that the 3 only had their own votes, okay? Sakwe Scotta only had his own vote. Kateka only had their own vote. Silavwe only had his own vote, okay? Because at some point, again, one person even called Robert Chansa to say, can you vote for me? So Robert was like, no. I think for me, the right person who should vote for is President Harry Kalaba. Because you have seen, even the way UK has been mobilizing and everything, the person that has even been putting us on the map, okay, it has been President Harry Kalaba. Be it rallies, be it participation in by-elections, we've been saying, UK is participating in this by-election by this, using its alliance partner, CF. Trust me, it hasn't really been UK participating, it has been CF. So they do certain things, and the alliance is even getting a name from there. So I was honest enough to say, you know what, let's do this, okay? When we've had by-elections, for example, when we go to some of these places, For some of us as NDC, we have not participated simply because of resources. I said, you know what, I don't have money, I will not participate in here, these elections. But when you go on the ground, everywhere we are going to find that members of NDC are there, and I tell them to go and campaign, and they follow their friends, and they help them in their campaigns. But you find that some of these political parties, nothing. Even when we went to the Western Province, for example, in the last by-elections, Robert Chansa, you know Robert Chansa is said to be the youngest president in Zambia, right? Robert Chansa, his provincial chairman was there in Western Province, and other party members. The chairperson, for example, Mr. Sakwa Squatter, who comes from Western Province, not even the provincial chairman was there. And then he told us, no, they have defected to UPND. What else can we say in terms of your party structures? There was basically nobody. You know, Robert Chansa had people, I had people, my provincial chairman was there, the district chairman, our constituency, all the way from Mongu to Limulunga, what is this? You had Mongu, Limulunga, and even Narikwanda, where we're going. My structures were there, they came on the ground. Are you getting the point? So when we look at all those things, we come to discuss to say, what is this? The presence on the ground for this and this party is not necessarily there. You know, and even the same by-elections in Western Province, and even the same one I'm talking about, you'd find that others will say, oh no, participate in these by-elections, and then at the last minute they don't have candidates. It will be CF again which will come in at the last minute, because them already have people on the ground, structures, and their person even stands and participates. So it was based on that the person like Robert Chansa said, you know what, we've seen how we've been mobilizing all of us in this alliance. I think one person that has done better than all of us is this person. So next year's elections won't be easy. I think President HH, he needs a strong contender. Right now as UKA, the strongest person we have is this one. So when he said that, there were now those things to say, okay, so this is where it's going. For me also, I didn't really tell them who I was going to vote for, but I think it was obvious because I used to tell them, say, you know what, we need to be strong in terms of what the Zambians are looking for out there. They want us to give them a proper alternative. So when they did realize that, what is this, the elections, if we're going to have them, they won't win, they sabotage those elections. I remember President Kateka, for example, she was very adamant. No, we need a bishop. We can't have elections without a bishop. We need a bishop. How? Okay, find a bishop. She went to find this bishop, talk to him. The time before it's supposed to have the elections, no, the bishop has left town. Bishop has left town. So, like, you know what? Some of us have never been, had faith in this whole thing of having a bishop. That's when our elections can be credible. We can have another organization, a governance organization like TIZ, SACOT, and all those. But since you're insisting on a bishop, there are many bishops in this country, find somebody else. So when we insisted on that, then we said, okay, fine, I'll find another bishop. Then a day before elections, and I mean a day before elections, President Kateka again came to us and said, no, my bodyguard, now the sister, now the child has died. Oh, okay, so the burial is on the same day of the elections. Okay, what time are you burying? Probably morning. Okay, if it's tell us, if it's morning, then we can have elections in the afternoon. Or if your burial will be there the whole day, we can have elections then the following day. You know, but shockingly, after that reason of a burial, we are not given another day. The elections were cancelled, not even postponed, cancelled indefinitely. You know, so from there now, we saw to say, people are not serious with the elections. And after that, they made sure that we stopped meeting. There were no meetings happening. You know, so some of us started complaining, but why aren't we meeting as an organization, you know? By then, I'm sure you saw, the media kept on asking, where is it up? For 2 months, I've said, oh, I'm sick and everything. 2 months, he went on sabbatical, you know. So that also affected the elections, the 2 months that he was away. You know, then at some point now, we are told there's something very important which is going to happen in May. So we can't have any elections before May. Because some of us were, again, telling them to say, we promised the Zambians that we're going to have a flag bearer by 31st of March. You know, so our word is our honor. We can't say something and then we do something else. We need to have a flag bearer before 31st of March so that we stick to our word, you know. No, we're going to have something very important happening in May, so we can't have elections before May. Right. Yeah, and then the other thing is that they started saying, what is this? I'm sure you've seen that we normally have those joint press conferences now between other alliances. You know, there's UKA, there's Tonse, there's Zambia We Want, SP, UNIP, you know, Economic Forum and all those. PAC has recently joined us. You know, then they started telling us, you know, if we have elections here, the other people think the bigger chain of oppositions that we're having, we're meeting in Abuja, they will look as if they'll think we are not serious with opposition unity. If we have a flag bearer, Munomo Oka, then the opposition unity, the other side will be compromised. And then we're telling them to say, where is even the logic there? Because if you saw President Sagwasco even had, what is this, I think, an interview where he even said something to that effect. Because we're meeting with others, so we have to be united. So some of us were like, don't say, even the time they left because of the issue of the flag bearer. When they went, they appointed the flag bearer. There and then, President Lungu chose him as the flag bearer. That's it, the flag bearer. The SP at the convention early this year, they chose President Membe as their flag bearer for next year. I think the Zambia want to be having a convention soon. So how is UKA having a flag bearer going to be considered that we are not serious with opposition unity? Because all of us should present somebody, But our friends, like I said earlier on, they knew to say they can't win an election because the only votes they had in the alliance were only their own votes. So they tried to disturb that, and in that process they were undermining UKA so that they think that we shouldn't have elections here, so that we go to the other group and present themselves as candidates also, so that as we are choosing there now, they are also considered. But for me, that level of selfishness, I think, is not good enough, because where we are going right now as our opposition, we need a situation whereby if there are alliances, for example, alliances should have a flag bearer, political parties should have, you get the point, so that even when you say let's work together, you would have maybe 4 or 5 people that you are considering. Then from there now you choose one person. But if you're going to come in and say you are an alliance and then you're not choosing because you want the others to choose, it means that all of you now, you're not being serious with what you want.
How does it make you feel, Madam President, that your name is attached to confusion? We've heard from EPP President Chilufya Tayali speak about the recent expulsion, your recent expulsion from the alliance, and you going on the media to say you've expelled President Sikota, and was saying he called you. He called you a person that is always moving with confusion from the NDC now to the United Kwacha Alliance. And I think he was even wanting to say this is not the type of person the UPND can work with because she's always attached to confusion. How does it make you feel that people would always want to say, Madam President, there's always confusion attached to her name and all that? How does that make you feel?
It doesn't make me feel anything, really, because even criticism, you have to look at the person criticizing you. I mean, Tayari, please, Tayari, I think, is not a man worth his salt. Are you getting the point? This is a person who has run away from the country. For what? For confusion. So Tayari is not even a person I should be responding to. However, Tayari is very close to President Sagwasco, that I can tell you. And for me, I look at all those things as amongst the things that I call playing dirty. Playing dirty, you don't want to say certain things, you start bringing into my lapdogs, sorry to use that word, to speak for you. So for me, I think Tayali, just in terms of a person, in terms of character, he's not a person worth responding to for me. In terms of, I think, opposition, political parties, in terms of just the presidents in the country, Tayali is not a leader, he's not an opposition political party leader. Tayali is a joker, you know that. That one is not a leader, he's a joker, and he's a paid mouthpiece. Every time Daddy says something, somebody has given him money to say it. So where he is there, mine somewhere was exchange hands, that I can tell you. So a person like that is not even a person that people can even listen to. And I've told you already to say, I know that he gets along with President Sagwasco. There's been something that we're doing in UKA, even there where he is right now. There's something that we are trying to do in UKA. And President Sagwasco at that time called him, and we had a conference call. There was Tayali on the line, there was me, there was President Sagwasco. So I know how close they are. Even the time I heard that he was going to talk about us, I was like, I know what it is that he's going to say, So when it comes to confusion and trying to attach that confusion, just him trying to drive that narrative and whatever, if he was involved in real politics of this country, trust me, there's a way that he can talk. But for me, I think Tayali is not a voice that anybody should take seriously. To me, he's a joker, he's a clown. And now that he has been run away from the country, he can go there and say all sorts of things because he knows that where he is, even the cyber laws can't attach them. Because when somebody is within the country, they should be careful and mindful and truthful in terms of what it is that they say. But people like him that have run away from this country because of being careless with what it is that they are doing, the thing that has made Tayali run away from this country is that careless mouth of his. The confusion that he carries is what has made him run away from this country. And now people are using him because he thinks he's away from the cyber laws. He can say whatever it is that he wants to say. But to cut the long story short, in fact, I've been spoken too much about him. He's not even a person for me that I should even consider talking about. I remember, by the way, there's a time again that he started the fight with me. You know, once in a while there are people that in social media, maybe they start a fight with you, you talk to them and everything. There's a time he started the fight with me, and when I responded, you should have seen how people were disappointed with me. Okay? People came to me like, no, sir, there's no way. Not Tayari. There's no way you can respond to this one. My level was for you and Tayari Asiana Maning. This one, in terms of the way we consider him, is ABCD. So from that time, I never respond to Tayari. Because the way people look at me and the way people look at him, it's too different. It's not the person worth responding to.
Right. There are also rumors, I don't know if you've heard of them, but there are rumors that the UPND is actually sponsoring you to bring confusion in the political circles. I don't know if you've heard of this rumor. Is it true?
That rumor is tantamount to people blaming the devil every time they do something wrong. Okay? They do something wrong. No, the devil, no. Some of these things that people do, the devil is even shocked himself. So every time there's something happening in the opposition, people run to say, the ruling party, the UPND. Let me tell you this. People don't realize how good it is to be in the ruling party. They don't realize. Especially in Zambian politics, where we don't have our act together as a country. When you are in Western countries, for example, you having a political job is as good as having any other job, okay? That is why you see that some prime ministers in other countries is even on the train, is on a bicycle, you know. There's not much of an entourage, you get the point. The ministers, the MPs are driving small cars, not in the Zambian kind of politics. If I wanted to work with the UPND, trust me, I would join them. Because I don't need to ask for permission from anybody to do it, you get the point. Like people have been saying, UPND is my former ruling party, okay? The president actually thinks of me very, very highly. I remember when President... what is this? Amongst the Minister Chipokamlenga comments when he joined the UPND, I was appointed minister and everything. I think we had a meeting at some point because, you know, he was my vice spokesperson in in NDC, and later on, even when he went to UPND, became minister and everything. We still maintained our friendship and brother, sister, and things like that. So once in a while, he would call me, you know, we talk and everything. And one of the first things he would say was like, "So boy, did I know how much the president loved and respected you?" You know, those are the things he would tell me. There's been that time when he was saying, the president wants to see you, you get the point. I never accepted that, you know. Are you getting the point? Anybody who's in the UPND, they know how much President HH loves and respects me. That is a fact. You get the point. If I was that kind of a person who wants to eat from politics, Lovisa would not see me here. That I can tell you. I would have a very good job in the UPND right now, enjoying myself, not being insulted by riffraffs that have been run away from this country because they can't tame their mouths. Are you getting the point? So for me to be here doing what I want, what I'm doing right now, it's because I know my duty to the Zambians. I know my duty to the public. The only thing I've said clearly is that I don't want to be in opposition for a very long time, because I've been in opposition all my life, you know. The PF themselves will tell you to say, when they were in government, the PF, they wanted me badly. I refused to join the PF. The UPN, even when they won government, they have told me several times to join them. I have refused. And I can also tell you to say, I'm sure you saw that in 2021 when our party was split, you know, the other people went with President Kambwili to PF, the others went with our Vice President, Mr. Kafumba, to UPND, and a good number of them now remained with me, and we served the NDC, and we remained as NDC. After some time, a good number of people, of course, came back to us, and then there were those also who wanted to come back from UPND, like almost everybody was saying, no, sir, this is reconciliation, and we come together as one party and everything. Every time we came to that level of saying, okay, let's now have one party again, okay? At first, some of them would say, we don't want to be led by women, things like that. But from 2021 to now, we came to a position whereby everybody saw the kind of leadership I've led the NDC. And everybody was okay saying, let's come together, the president will be Savoy, and this is, and they're okay with that. The only thing where we have not agreed upon was where we say, okay, you people are in the UPND alliance, us we're in UCA. So if we come together, which alliance we're going to respect? Then they'll be like, no, but you people are in the opposition, us we're in the UPND alliance. So we need, when we come together, besides you be the president, you know. So you come through and you're going to benefit, besides the president is your husband, you know, things like that. The president is your husband, and we know how much he loves and respects you. So let's just come together. You'll be part of the UPND alliance. You can't be in the opposition anymore. Lovis, I can tell you right now, as I look at you, that is a thing that has made those talks fail. Because I have said, NDC, the NDC I have, which is the real NDC, and the NDC that has a lot of members, The people are okay being in opposition. I get the point. They're not desperate to be in the ruling party. They're not desperate. So for me, to work with the UPND, for example, I don't even have to go in Jerezitari, no. If I wanted to work with the UPND, it would just be one meeting. I would call everybody who is working in the UPND right now and been given jobs and everything because they went with the UPND Alliance and my part, and I said, you know what, I am ready for us to come together as one united NDC. And being your leader, I accept. We shall recognize the UPND Alliance. It's as simple as that. I get the point. I don't have to hide or pretend or do anything like that. I don't have to do that. Are you getting the point? So,
you are telling us that the people, the members of the NDC that are working with the UPND or that are in the UPND Alliance are still members of your party?
Yes, they are. They are, yeah. At some point, most of them, of course, they had all sorts of conflicting loyalties, if I should call it that, yeah. Some of them to the point of where they didn't want to recognize me as a leader because they went there with their own leadership. And also, in case people out there don't know the media, from the time that they went inside there, from the time that Mr. Kafumba, for example, was appointed as Home Affairs PS, they changed leadership about 6 times, okay? They had Mr. Kafumba, then there was Mr. Munyam Senge, then there was George Sichula, then there was Mr. Nyerenda, then there was Mr. Musukwa, then there was Mr. 6 leaders, okay? I have just been alone, leading NDC with order, okay? With the proper governance and everything. So over time, I have earned the rightful respect that I deserve, okay? So no wonder even them, they've said, you know what, we want to come together, we want to come to your side, but in as much as we respect you and regard you to be the leader of the NDC, the only condition for us is that we want to be in the UPND Alliance. Are you getting the point?
We've had members of the NDC, I think those ones came from the Copper Belt on this particular platform, and they said that you're still claiming to be NDC, you know, leader, but they didn't want to delve into the details because these matters are still in court.
There's nothing in court right now, not even one case. And if I don't know, do you remember the names of the people that were saying that, for example? The people that came?
I know the faces, I've forgotten the names, okay. But yeah.
But I wanted to say that maybe even after the program, I'll even show you my WhatsApp. I'll show you my WhatsApp. You look at maybe faces and what, and you see almost everybody, even those that used to be in the media, they are busy calling WhatsApp messages, even as of yesterday and of today. But some of them are saying them. So some of you were such riffraffs, you know. And I know. We just insulted Michael Sata, what, you're a leader, you forgive, you do this. Even those that were busy insulting me. Because at some point I even gave a condition to say, there are people that we can accept back in NDC, but there are those who are busy in the media that's even insulting, those who shall not accept back. So I said, no, you need to forgive and everything. And by the way, at first I could not forgive, but later on people, including myself, we definitely forgive. So we have gone through all those things, okay? Even those people that should be in the media, by the way. Even though that should be in the media.
So the NDC doesn't have 2 factions anymore?
It doesn't have... okay, let me say this, because where they went, by the way, they split in 2, okay? They split in, where they went, they split in 2, and they've taken each other to court, that side, okay? But for me, I don't recognize them, because I normally call them the rebels anyway. And now I'm not even using that word, because now we are talking and everything, okay? Because they want to come back and everything. But before then, I would say NDC is only one. We have the NDC under me, and then the rebels. Are you getting the point? But now, like I said, I'm not using that word anymore because also apparently they feel offended. Naturally, they feel offended when I use that word. Are you getting the point? But the level we are right now, the NDC that went to that side and whichever parts they went, and let me say members of NDC that went away were willing to come back to NDC. All of them recognize me as president, but the condition for those that are in the UPND Alliance, right? Well, some of them have got very good jobs, contracts here and there. The only condition they have with me is that, please, we want to be in the UPND Alliance, because UPND Alliance is in government, and for them also they believe that the opposition is so disorganized, and they are saying the opposition is so disorganized, they're not going to form government. For us who are in opposition, we believe that the UPND has lost credibility, and there's no way they can win 2026. But for them, they believe that despite everything happening, the UPND is not losing. So that is where the only thing is, okay? And no wonder for me, I'm even telling you to say, if I was, for example, even week or weekend, or if I was so interested in being in the ruling party or whatever, trust me, right now, I would have a bigger NDC because everybody now would be under me. I would be the president and I'd be in the alliance. They've even gone further to actually even offer jobs. That you should know. They've gone further to offer jobs and everything. So I don't know why I should be out here pretending to be UKA or whatever, and then secretly I'm working with the UPND when I'm not even getting paid for anything. Are you getting the point? Yes. So all those things, like I said earlier on, it's a matter of people, for example, blaming the devil when something goes wrong. The truth of the matter is that the ruling party normally funds confusion in opposition political parties, sometimes alliances, whatever it is, when they get scared or something.
Kindly hold your thoughts, Madam President. Let us just speak this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chileshe.
Sister Savoy Mulishani.
If I
was part of Nawakwi's family, because the courageous is the same one that we are going to miss in Mama Nawakwi. How is the NDC doing?
The NDC is doing fine. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think President Savoy Mulishani, and you are still young. And what we are saying, yes, we need the counsel from you elders. But if really we see that you are out of the fashion of this generation, then definitely we are going to speak. So my encouragement is that don't feel intimidated. You have the rights. Abakulunga chakoba tina abafirwama politics kuti it's time for them to go and list and eat what they have invested in politics. So even is it today I've seen in the one of the tabloids, you have just told them the truth to say Kalaba is most desirable than this year, because this year number one, but it's the truth. This year is not eligible. So it's high time you opposition sit together, tell the big man the truth to say, as much as we are going to push you where and where, our elder brother, Edgar Chakwalu, you are not eligible. Can you just own up and support us, the youths that have supported you? Because at some point you supported him. So why can't he just pick someone whom is going to rely on and say, I am throwing all my support to this gentleman or to this woman like Savoy, so that we defend what you are saying we want to defend, the democracy, we want to come and bring down the cost of living and the like. Other than what you are doing, this is where now the Zambia are now questioning the confidence in your leaders. If you can't sit together and just decide on one thing.
Mr. Chileshe, thank you so much.
As I conclude, you have pointed on Calabar. Tell Calabar also to be content with the people that is working with it, rather than jumping from this one, going to this one, going to this one. You are still young, they are going to destroy your political journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chileshe.
I cannot respond to him because
Mr. Chileshe, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, so unfortunately, time is not on our side, but we'll see if we can pick a few other calls as we're still having a conversation on the National Pulse. You can call us on the number that is on your screen and also catch us live on our Facebook page, Millennium TV Zambia. Deliver us your comments in our comment section this afternoon. Madam Savoy Imboela, NDC leader as well as founder of the United Kwacha Alliance, is joining me on set. I'll let you quickly respond to Mr. Chileshe, and also as you respond to him, let me just pose this question. Looking at the confusion right now that has engulfed OKA, can we safely conclude that probably this is the end of the alliance?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Mr. Chileshe. I appreciate that. I totally appreciate what you have said. When it comes to the end of OKA, the idea, like I said earlier on, Robert Chance wanted to leave, I wanted to leave, and...
How did you want to leave when you were the one who came up with the idea?
You can leave when things are not working, you know. Because,
don't you think you should be fighting for it?
No, there's a limit to which you can fight certain things. You get the point, yes. There's a limit to which you can fight certain things. And for me also, when it finally came to Mr. Sagvaskota allegedly expelling me, that's when I said, you know what, I'm not going anywhere. Let me show this man that has got no rights to expel me. And that's why I also like what Chilesha said, to say, some of these people have done their work, let them go and rest, you know. Because no wonder now they're doing all sorts of funny things which are not even supposed to be there. A simple procedure, somebody failing to follow procedure, and yet this is a senior council in the country, you know, so I think it's time for certain people to rest. So for me, for UKA, I could have left because, like I've said, I can't be in a room where Sakubas is a chairperson of UKA chairing what? Because he has brought that organization to its knees. You know, so for me, I don't really have any faith and confidence in him anymore. So the future of UKA, we still have a chance. Robert Chancellor is a youthful person. Robert Chancellor is said to be the youngest president in this country, and we've been talking about youthful leadership. You know, look at what is happening in Burkina Faso. Look at what is happening in Senegal. They have showed us that the young people can lead. So all the time we talk about the young people, the youth, the what, and then when we choose people in terms of leadership rather, always choose the big people. So let's give the young people a chance. And for me, I think under Robert Chancellor, I think we'll have that opportunity. I mentioned earlier on that we traveled to the Western Province. We had some programs in Southern Province. Robert Chancellor, his people showed up in Western Province. They showed up in Southern Province. He has membership here in Lusaka. So already he has shown that as a young person, he's a person that is able to mobilize, not where people claim to be presidents of political parties, membership on the ground basically zero, you know. So to cut a long story short, the United Kwacha Alliance does have a hope now that it has a new leadership in Robert Chancellor, because for me, I think Robert Chancellor can definitely do something. If it was going to be President Sakiba Scott, I don't think he can take us anywhere. He has failed to take us anywhere. And President Chancellor, for me, in fact, he called me yesterday to say we need to sit and do the constitution immediately. So very soon we'll be doing the constitution of UKA, we'll be doing an MOU, we'll be doing a power sharing kind of agreement, everything, all the documents that UKA has failed to have all this time. I think we're going to have them in just a period of 1 month.
Right. Madam Imboila, on that note, we come to the end of our discussion on the pulse. Thank you so much for coming through this afternoon. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
With the UKA. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
All right, our dear viewer, we come to the end of our discussion on the program this afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Madam Savoy Imboila, President of the National Democratic Congress Party, was joining me, as well as founder of the United Kwacha Alliance. Now, being your host, Lovisa Chulufi, until tomorrow, just stay tuned to Millennium TV. God bless.
Imagine having access to the latest news at your fingertips. Introducing the newly rebranded and improved Daily Nation website. With our innovative online flipping page feature, you can read the newspaper just like you would in print. Plus, with our subscription-based model, you will get access to exclusive content, archives, and more. So why wait? Sign up now and experience the future of news. Daily Nation, now at your fingertips.